Hello. Let me first address the elephant in the room and say that there was a miscommunication with my stylist, and that's why my hair looks the way it does. Let's move on. I'm talking about comics again. That's what this channel is for. Today we're talking about who to blame for the state of comics. And if you didn't pick up on it in my last video, this is a very tongue-in-cheek exercise because there is no one person or group to blame. You can't say it's all the retailers. You can't say it's all the creators. You can't say it's all the publishers. There's a lot of blame to go around. I blame all of us. So with that in mind, talking about creators today, what culpability do creators have in the market's woes? First, let's talk about if they're any good. This is a matter that's often debated because there's two things happening. There's some presentism where people do not realize that there have always been really shit creators. But as a guy who has read a lot of 70s Marvel, a lot of 80s Marvel, there have always been bottom of the barrel creators. So let's just get that out of the way. Is this a particularly fallow period for talent in comics? Well, at the risk of offending, yes. Broadly, this is not a good period. There's a couple reasons for that. There's a shift in sensibilities, right? That's pretty undeniable. It's often remarked that the 90s had a very specific identity and sensibility among its creators. Some people like it, some people don't, but it's a definite sensibility. There is a definite sensibility to this moment. It is, in my view, post Joss Whedon, post Brian Wood, post Brian Michael Bendis, and post YA. Put all those things in a blender. Then totally remove the element from past writers, past creators that I think is really not talked about enough. And that is how well read they were. There is no evidence. I can't say if creators today are or are not well read. There is no evidence that they are. I remember reading a Punisher comic from Mike Barron's messy cocaine, stolen plot era. I love some moments from those comics, and I have great memories. They're not necessarily great comics, but even in those shit comics, there was often some evidence that Mike Barron had read a great deal of books and was knowledgeable on a multitude of subjects, and we just do not get that in 2023. Now, I'm not the most erudite dude that ever walked the earth. I don't suppose that I would even meet my own standard in this regard. But it is worth noting because there is no Roy Thomas today. I will say that. There is no one. I mean, respectfully to Ram V. That book that he did at Vault, Savage Shores or whatever, it had the general underpinnings of literature. It announced that the person writing the thing had in fact read a book. So that really was enough to put him in a different category. Tinian, same thing, right? Just, it's clear that they've read a book and it matters. So outside of a few select guys, it just feels like either people aren't readers or they don't know how to convey that they are in their work. I'm not going to make assumptions. Maybe some of these people are very well read, and it's just not coming across. So that's one thing. I don't think we need pretentiousness. I don't think we need a kind of an academic flex, but I would like to see some proof that the creators are literate. Now, they also need to be comics literate, and this is a problem that a lot of people clue in on. Again, some of this can bleed down to editorial, but if you are not using the basic mechanics of print comics to make print comics, then I don't know how anybody's supposed to take your work seriously, how anybody's supposed to assume that you actually want to be here. And what I mean by this is simple things. If you are so much of the digital / piracy generation that you don't take advantage of left page reveals, I can't read your damn book. It not because it's necessarily bad, but because it really evidences that you don't consider the medium at all. Your story might be great, but you're just not present in the thing that we're doing. You're not present in the medium. Let's get back to the sensibility concern. It's fair to say that YA influence is unwelcome among older readers. Is that anybody's fault / should we give a damn? Every art in the world goes through little phases, little trends. And during the time that someone's enjoying them, they feel like that they will and should not ever end. And if you hate them, they feel like they should end tomorrow, and it feels like they never will. But if you miss the mark entirely and are producing work with a sensibility that appeals to virtually no one in the space, well, that's a problem too. Another concern that I have that I think is really reflected in a lot of books right now is a self-censorship, a complete unwillingness to be daring out of fear that there will be career repercussions for even suggesting that some chances should be taken, that some envelopes should be pushed. No spice cabinet in comics at the moment, right? I think that this is a major problem that is, it's subtle and it's difficult to express because it sounds like you're begging for boobs, or it sounds like you are a child that needs potty humor or violence to thrill you. But it's real, it shouldn't be denied, and there's really no reason to deride it if you think about it. I don't need potty humor, but I would almost appreciate some, simply because it would provide me something, anything. Have you ever wanted to smell a bad smell? Just for the experience, just to remember what that smells like, just to almost to feel, I guess, right? The last problem with creators that I'm going to bring up today is the lack of personal accountability. I blamed editors in my last video for every problem under the sun. I said that the buck stops with them. That's true. However, your name is on the top of the book. It's on the cover. The editor can slink away. The same cannot be said for creators that put out bad work. You cannot escape your name. You can't escape bad work. It piles up, it compounds, and it magnifies everything wrong with your potentially improving or even good writing. If you've done a lot of bad work, no one has any way to tell that you're great. So look at it like a resume. How many gas station jobs can you put on a resume? You think that by working and by being able to say I'm a comics professional, that you've won something. It is far better that you dig ditches and do one comic and you can say I am a good comic creator. The goal should not be to say that you're a comic book creator. Any fool can do that. You want to be good at something. You want to be great. You want to stand out. You want to leave a mark of some type. Or you just want to express yourself in a way that you can be proud of. You have to walk away from bad work. You can't be talked into it. You can't be browbeaten into it. But you can't be subtly threatened into it. Say no to more things. Don't take that job. It doesn't matter how broke you are. There is always a job cleaning up roadkill that has infinitely more dignity to it than creating bad comic books for readers that will just dislike you. This Who to Blame video series focuses a lot on the big two and people that are in that orbit. That does not mean that I think that creator-owned creators are doing generational work right now. That doesn't mean that I don't think that there's real blame to go around for us as well. At some point I will do a video that enumerates every mistake I've made. We'll get there. In the meantime, I ask that you just take a criticism coming from a genuine place without any intention to hurt you. I'm not trying to shit on any individual creators. I want everybody to win. I just think we gotta self-examine a little bit better.